Uh, right. So we started our journey of open learning with this question of, hey, what is the purpose of education? And the answer that appeared most meaningful and most, you can say, relevant to us was that the purpose of education is to live, which means living and education and learning to us is kind of synonymous. And what that means is, if that is true, then that means that each individual should be leading himself or herself, and so should each child. And which is in a way what open learning is all about. It's about letting the child or welcoming the child to lead himself or herself, which they actually do pretty much when they are 1 year, 2 years old. They decide what they want to learn, they decide how they want to learn, they decide whether they've learned enough or not, and so on. So that's what open learning is, to continue that journey. And they can continue it right till they are professional. They become a professional in a field. So that's the whole idea. So it's not limited to only younger years. It's for, we say it's 0 to 99, all ages. So it's not limited, especially for children. It's not limited only to the schooling years, but right up to till the time they settle into their profession. So open learning, in very brief, is about the responsibility of myself. So each individual taking up responsibility of themselves, obviously in the company of others, and of the family and others. And that's the beauty of open learning. It lays a lot of emphasis on my responsibility, my leadership. Yeah. Typically, in a journey of open learning, when children are very young, they are more looking for exposure. So that's we call as the exposure phase. Then they move on to exploring things that they like doing. And I'm sure Vishruti will talk about how her son moved from exposure to exploration, deep exploration of what he likes doing. And then as they grow older, they may move into getting expertise or refining their skills in a particular domain. This is typically happens in teen years and in slightly older years, and then they move into enterprise stage, which is when they can start earning. So that's a fairly intuitive, I would say, progression. And these stages are all not even overlapping. Even at expertise stage, I may be getting exposed to something new and so on. So there's a lot of back and forth. These are not linear stages as may look like. These are rather four parts of each one of ours life. So what is Aarohi? If that is open learning, Aarohi is a community of families who do open learning, and they kind of connect together, co-create together, learn together, support each other. And how we do it is, many of us do it by staying at our home and connecting with families. We use technology to connect with each other on a daily basis, weekly basis. There's also the campus. Some families or some children like to stay at the campus, so they come over to the campus as and when they want. It's an open campus for the community families. And obviously the families travel to each other's homes. So that's another space we explore, and we explore the whole world as our classroom. Yeah. So that's the scope of the Aarohi community. Yeah, that's pretty much it. A little bit, I will just mention about Aarohi Coversity, which is about age group from 13, 14 to 21. As children grow older, they need more, or rather they want to focus on their profession, or rather find which fields they want to get into in terms of profession, and then spend time in those fields doing work which is industry work, which is world work. So that is what youth in Coversity do. They get together and live together and do work in their chosen fields, do real work, yeah, and convert their learning, rather their working into learning, or rather working into learning into professions, something like that. Yeah. So that's the Aarohi Coversity. We can talk more about it maybe after 6. let's spend some time right now with Vishruti. Yeah, let me stop share. Yeah, okay, so super. So how do I introduce Vishruti? We've been all part of this learning community for many years. I've forgotten, lost track of how many years, right? And it's been so wonderful. We've done a lot of amazing things together, and yeah, as a family, they've their own interesting journey, which I'm sure she will share. And yeah, it's so nice to have you, Vishruti, here. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who would like to hear and ask you questions. So over to you.
Yeah. It's so good to see so many of you after so long. We haven't been able to be in touch, typically in touch, but yeah, it's so good to see everyone. So hi, I'm Vishruti, and I think it is some 48th or some Jagriti batch that connected me with Aarohi. My husband was to join, but as open learning is, sometimes things, plans change, and now he's traveling, so he has some network issues. So I'm not sure when and how he'll be able to join. My son is 7-year-old and 7.5 years old, and I think it was nearly 6 years back that I did Jagriti, and that ignited the question in me. What is learning, and what is it that I really want to do as a parent? And already a lot of questions were there in my head about the conventional education system, whatever I did for 12 years, how it has helped me, whether it has stayed with me or no. If it hasn't stayed with me, why it hasn't stayed with me at all. And I think I keep saying this, I don't know how many times I must have said this, that most of the things that I could figure out about my own needs and my own journey through Jagriti. Jagriti is a program that is done by Aarohi. And then still we were in our own journey, and there are fears here and there. So we also opted for Vidat's nursery when he was 3.5 years old. And he started going to school, but as we were more aligned with the thought of self-directed learning, there were things little aage piche, some or the other way. There were experiences that were trying to tell us something. And then after a few months, it was Vedat, my son, who came up that enjoy school, and I'm not liking this and that. And as Aarohi believes that there are no children, there are no parents, we all are same. So in his case also, we could see there were a lot of clarity in his thoughts even at that time. And I guess all we did was just sit with it and acknowledge. And that was the time that we started questioning our fears, why we are not able to start our homeschooling, unschooling, open learning journey. And those 3-4 months were like intense brainstorming. Sunny, my husband, took his own time to come on the journey. I also remember the phase where it was tough because he had his own fears and beliefs that was stopping him to believe in the child. And that is our son. And I guess he would have been here, he would have shared a different story from his angle also. But that's what I perceived from our journey, that he had his own journey. And then he slowly and gradually, I think he got aligned with the idea. And after almost 7-8 months, I remember once he said that, thank God, Vishruti, our son is not part of that system. And I was like, okay. And then he said, and I didn't expect that. I remember so many calls I used to do to Aditi. Sometimes I used to write to Ratnesh. what should I do to convince somebody? And they always used to say, you don't have to convince anybody. You just have to understand where are they coming from. Just hold on, just stay with everything that is existing. It's all, everything is beautiful. And slowly and gradually, I feel the children as the spark. I guess it's only the child who can do the magic. So he also did his own magic, and then gradually I saw Sunny's belief in this journey more than me, growing and growing. So yeah, with that was I guess 2.5 or something, 2 years or something when I visited Aarohi first. Then again, I guess when he was 5 or something, I visited Aarohi again. And I must say in this meetup that one thing that really helped me to take that leap of faith and start our journey as an unschooling family was this meetup. Because I precisely still remember each and every meetups and my takeaways from those meetups. Like, I remember how Prashant and Nandini were there. That time, Radhai was some very small baby, like 5, 6, whatever, 6 years, 7 years, something. And they had come in this meetup. All the meetups, every meetup I rigorously used to come and listen to them. That was maybe the first wave of COVID or something. So the online meetup had started. And I remember how beautifully every family shared their own journey. And I also remember Avni's journey, like being an open learner, they're going back to school, then again coming back to open learning, and all of those shifts. And then I remember Sahil's journey, so beautiful. Everything that Sahil's mom shared was something that stayed with me. So few of the statements also what they mentioned were like, it is engraved. And that's something that keeps questioning me, even brings a lot of questions to me even today in our own journey. So these meetups were the ones, I guess, which told me that I don't have to be somewhere to start the journey. I mean, my son is already an open learner from the age 0. And all we have to just do is do it. That's it. Continue what you are living. Just live. And when I started hearing families, it's only then when I realized that each family was so unique. They had very different dynamics, and still they could figure their own way of having their journey of open learning. And then it kind of opened me to look at it from a very dynamic, very customized perspective. And we started doing a lot of discussion as a family. It's been now, I guess, 4 years of open learning. And I see with that, my son, being extremely clear about what he wants and how he wants to do it. And his interest areas are very clear most of the times. And sometimes he goes here to there and there to here. And maybe a lot of these meetups, I must say that we connected with so many Aarohi families. Aarohi is, I guess I don't really have to mention, it's at the core of my open learning journey. I don't know how my open learning journey would have been if there wouldn't be Aarohi and Aarohi families and Ratnesh and Aditi. So can you elaborate more on open learning? Okay. I think there are many of us who can share their own understanding about open learning, but I think open learning is just about being open and see everything as a learning. So yeah, maybe that's the simplest way I can put it. So yeah, I think it has been a beautiful journey, and there are phases, like we always say that there are some phases when you really feel very sorted, and there are some phases when you feel confused and you really want to question and understand, and you're not able to find answers. And that's exactly where I feel the community helps. I still recently only I still called up Preeti and I asked Preeti how to do this. I'm not able to manage this. And Preeti was like, oh, chill, it's okay, it happens everywhere. We also sail through the same thing. So yeah, I think the community support is something that makes this whole journey of unschooling, homeschooling, open learning, whatever we want to call it, very, very rich. And it just instills and brings your faith again and again in the process, in the child, in yourself, in the surrounding, in the world is a classroom and everybody is a teacher. All of these things that we maybe just hear as a words, somewhere I feel it starts becoming real for you. Yeah, I think that's all. Maybe if anybody have any question, I guess it's better. Otherwise, Ratnesh was mentioning about exploration and then expertise and all about my son. So my son, since from a young age, he was interested, because I used to read a lot of books and all. He was too much into books and then stories and then puzzles, all of those things. So gradually, when he was 2.5 or 3, we introduced Legos to him. And I could see that it almost got converted into a like something that he loves the most. He could spend hours and days and nights and everything with Legos. So he's still there. He still loves it so much. And he started from small Legos, and then he also started creating bigger, complex creations. Then some machines. With the help of community, we also could connect with few people, Aarohi community. One parent whose child was exactly having the similar kind of interest. So we borrowed a set of machine building with Legos and all, and that way that explored beautifully. Right now also he's in the stage of creating a lot of things from Legos, also from batteries and whatever resources we have. And beyond that, we also try and stretch our limits with resources. So he builds a lot of stuff with cardboards. Electronics was something that was introduced by Aarohi community in Aarohi X. And I could see that also shaping up beautifully well with him. Yeah, he likes cooking. He likes what else? Lot of things he likes. Routine, a lot of stuff. He likes pocha marna usse bahut pasand hai. So he likes wiping the floor.
Trekking.
And yeah, washing vessels. Everything that we are doing in our life, he's part of it. Yeah.
Super, thank you. I think that's a lovely start, Vishruti. I think some questions have started coming up. I'm just thinking it would only be fair that if you all kind of come on videos and audios and like make Vishruti feel at home. Not that professionally she needs it. She has been an RJ for many years, so she's used to talking to the world without seeing anything. She's the pro amongst us. But I think it would be more nice and warm and the feel of the meetup that, you know, we kind of all come on video and we can chit chat with her. Yeah. So please go ahead, interact with her. Let it not be just a one-line question and an answer kind of a thing. Let it be more like a discussion or a chit chat. Yeah. Over to you.
Vishruti. Yeah. Hi. I don't know who is this.
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Yeah.
No, exactly. Ratnesh, you have pinned my video. Just unpin my video so that whoever is saying, I can see. Yeah. Done. I hope now I can see you.
Can you see me now?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Hi, Vishruti. Hi. Yeah, like it's it's not that I'm not aware of open schooling. I am aware of it. And I'm basically from a Montessori background, you know. I'm trained in the pre-primary thing. So the Montessori part it was very convincing for me because it's a very child-centric approach where children have a lot of freedom to choose what they want to do, you know, over a period of 3 or 4 hours that they stay in school, you know, they choose. But there are a few rules, like few things like math and language like English. That is something they won't let you go off. I mean, you have to learn. But there are a lot of other areas like geography and science. So children really get to do a lot of hands-on. So that was good, you know, the preschool part. But now I've put my child to a traditional school.
Okay.
So I don't know whether she faces pressure, but I'm facing a lot of pressure. So I can't imagine what she could be facing because assessments are there, so many tests after tests. And you know, we used to have such happy weekends, you know, totally relaxed. Now I'm just making her learn some spellings, you know, learn this, do that. So of course, there are a lot of Montessori elementary schools also, like at least up to standard 5. So that is also something that I've explored, but they're either very far from my house, like 10, 20, 18 kilometers, or if I'm happy with the school, the fee is too high, or they don't have transport. So I'm not really able to zero in on any one school, but these are very child-centered schools, you know, where children are free to move. They do learn things like other children, but in a very different kind of a setting. And the traditional school also, I'm happy because she was happy to go to the Montessori school, and even the traditional school that she's going now, I can see that, you know, she's all ready and ready to go to school. But the assessment part, I'm not liking it. I feel it's not needed for children, but that's the way that school works. So that's where my confusion has set in. So what do I do now? I mean, because she enjoys going to school, I can't stop her. Because a lot of things are taken care in the school. They teach
What is
yoga.
her
They do
age?
meditation. Sorry?
What is her age?
She's 6.5, grade 1. So I connected with the school because they do a little bit of spiritual things. It's
Navya, can I
Ravi
little pause you? We'll definitely take your question. Right now, today, we are more kind of interacting with Vishruti, understanding her journey. So maybe initially we can keep questions more related to address to Vishruti and also interacting with her, understanding her journey and learning.
Is it only
there.
me who is not able to hear Ratnesh, or everybody else?
No, all of us couldn't hear him for the last 20 seconds or so.
Oh, my voice is not clear.
Yeah, now we are clear. Now
Now
you're
we can
audible.
hear him.
Okay, so I'm just saying, let's spend the next half an hour at least easily, just inviting to interact with Vishruti. She's like a guest today with us. So let's learn from her journey and explore her journey. And then we can take questions which are more specific to our journey, like Navya, yours journey. So will that be okay if we take your questions after 6 o'clock and others who have their own questions? And let's spend at least minimum half an hour or so more learning from Vishruti's journey. So the questions can be more directed in understanding.
If she can actually explain like how the day goes with her child, or how do they actually plan, because it's very new to me. So if she can just say, you know, how things happen or what is the plan like, it would be great.
Yeah, so this is the most common question asked. What do you do in the entire day? Everybody asks. The first question is this the moment they get to know. So I don't think there is any fancy structure that we have been able to create till now. But it's a very simple process that we try to follow, which is planning and then the doing part. And we try to do reflection. I personally have figured out over a period of time that I'm a reflective person. So I love doing reflections, but not necessarily every time my son will participate. Me and my husband will go ahead with the processes. So the simple is like that. We tried doing planning in many ways with my son, but sometimes sometimes it was very pressurized for him. Sometimes I used to have big debates with him. I really don't know what you're doing in your day. Sometimes I used to make his plan, and then I felt a lot of pressure on my head. Sometimes my availability was becoming something that because I also work, so I have at least 3-4 hours every day to do my stuff. So then with that, managing the unschooling was getting difficult. So I used to share with him. Now, with a lot of trial and error, one thing that he's comfortable with is planning his day. So he just tells in the morning what all he wants to do. And sometimes he says, I don't want to write, so I write for him, or somebody, he can ask somebody else or convince somebody else to write for him. Sometimes he has to write, sometimes he willingly does that. So he plans his day. We prepare a lot of posters and things like that in advance, wherever we are free, whenever we are free, what all he likes doing on his own, what all he likes doing with mama, where he needs support with daddy. So all of those posters, those things drawn, and all of those things are there for the reference if someday he just doesn't want to think what I want to do. So then he picks up things from there, and he goes with the flow. So a lot of times his plans change. A lot of time my plans change. I was available in the morning, but then something comes up. I go out, and then maybe I'm not available. So we'll figure out. We also discuss about every moving out, what person he's going to stay with. Like, we have a joint family, so he knows exactly what he wants to do with Dadi, that is the grandmother. He knows exactly what he wants to do with Nani. If he's going to Nani's place, if he's going to his friend's place, he'll share, okay, these are the things that I'm going to do there. So we kind of, I think preparation is something that we try and do a lot. Then we go with the flow. But yeah, planning, doing, and then at least reflecting for me and my husband is something that we do. Vedat will reflect in his own way. Initially, I had a very limited belief about, okay, once at night when we sit together as a family and when we reflect, we question, that is the only way we reflect. But then I started realizing as he was growing that he would reflect anytime. He was just, even on the lunch table, he'll just come and say that, oh, Mama, I think I did this, but I am not really, I'm finding this very difficult. I don't want to do this. And it took me some time to realize that these were also reflections only that he was sharing. It's just that he's not sharing in my, my idea of this is the reflection time, so he should reflect in this way and that way. So I can see that he's also gradually understanding himself and what things he's finding comfortable. So we go with the flow. But yeah, it's mostly, this is, I think this whole thing was also very, very resonating with me. The planning, doing, and reflection. Doing is the major part of the day. Planning takes a very small time. Reflection happens, doesn't happen, that we go with the flow. And this is, I think, something that we've learned from Aarohi that has resonated always with me and with my family, at least. Anybody else wants to or have any question?
Can I ask a question? This is Namrata here. I'm sorry, I'm unable to switch on my video.
You're not able to switch on your video?
I just not enabled.
Oh, wonderful. It's okay. We don't have to look good here.
ITR filings are going on. It's just messed up with that.
That's fine. Absolutely.
So my question is, we also started with unschooling this year, just few months, 5 months back. Okay. So there comes a time, many times, that I feel ये cover नहीं हो रहा है, वो cover नहीं हो रहा है. Yeah, sometimes I get stuck into that kind of idea कि हाँ इसको ये आना चाहिए, because that is his potential, because I have already bought the books of his standard, 4th standard, and he refers to those books, but then he chooses which subject he has to read that day, what kind of research he has to do and all. But sometimes that idea sinks in into my mind कि कुछ छूट रहा है. So how do you deal with that that kind of that kind of what word should I say? Fear, anxiety.
Fear. Yeah. Mostly it's a fear of missing out. FOMO, we call it.
FOMO, I know. I do have a self-talk at that point in time, but I just want to know from experienced parents like you who have been on this journey for a long. So I mean, like, how do you deal with that with yourself, your own self?
So I have a very simple thing to share here. Before we started our open learning, I had a lot of questions in my head. I learned architecture from the best school. Then I joined radio. And then after doing radio, I was doing multiple other things. And one thing that I realized was when I joined radio, I worked in radio industry almost for 10, 11 years. When I was working in radio, I realized everything that I've learned in architecture, none of those things were useful here. I was a science student, hardcore 93% person. I used to score amazing, well, very good with science and all of those things. None of those things I was utilizing in radio. Then I kept questioning, and all the other people in the radio industry were from the mass communication and this and that. They would have master's degree and all. And I kept questioning myself, what really brought me here? I was very passionate for radio. I love talking today also. You have to stop me if I start talking. So I used to be very passionate for radio. And I kept asking myself, I was great with my languages, my literature, Gujarati literature, the way I used to read, that was my passion. And then ultimately what I ended up was also, it's not that I could not do architecture, it's just that I was enjoying radio more, that's all. And when I reflected and I asked myself, what really brought me here? I was exactly the same as any mass communication student was. So then I realized I was always very passionate about languages, communication, things like that. Knowing yourself, maybe reflective, whatever you want to call it. And that was something that connected my dots with my journey. And my husband was very poor with languages. He still doesn't know anything about English grammar, forget about Gujarati grammar. And I always used to wonder what is lacking in his life. Where is he behind in his life? Nowhere. I always struggled with accounts. I still don't know most of the things. But when I had to invest money in my share market or whatever, where I had money and I wanted to invest, I rigorously learned and searched and asked 10 million questions to 2-3 people that I was really consulting. So I realized that even though being so bad with accounts all my life, when at the age of 32, I had to invest my money, I learned. And today also, my husband, all this 35 years, he never needed the English grammar or whatever Gujarati grammar knowledge or even the basic English except talking and writing and all of those. Beyond that, he never utilized anything from languages, wherein I was a person who is very precise and very specific about language. It's like something to score it. To me, I think I realized there only that we are not missing out on ideally anything. Maybe he was given 12 years all the language gyan and grammar. I was given 12 years all the science gyan and so much more. But I couldn't utilize or I couldn't be there. Those knowledge is not still with me. I've forgotten most of the things. Is because I was not passionate about it, and that was not part of my need to learn. So every time that I feel that my child, so in my son's case, we don't follow any subjects. He chooses the project.
Vishruti, I want to pause you. I want to tell you, I want to clip this little video and make it viral all over the world.
I know. Yeah.
Carry on, please.
Yeah. So with that, we don't follow any subjects, and I don't get this fear that what if it doesn't learn this part of life, I guess, because if at the age of 35, I can learn whatever shares and everything I'm still learning, I think he'll learn. And you will not imagine, very surprisingly, when we started our journey, me and Sunny, when we sat together, we had our own fears. Sunny tried to teach him, how to do subtraction, like when he was 4 years or something, 3.5. So he started teaching him, 5 minus 3. And we could see he was not interested. He would look here and there. Otherwise, we feel he's like child who will get engrossed in something. But most of the time when we are trying to, give a platter to him ready, okay, let's eat, he's most of the time not there. And but then as a Aarohi family, like we always practice everything that he has to buy, whatever he wants. He has to go and make an effort to do things. So we used to go to different shops. He will go alone and buy stuff, even whatever age is, and however he communicates. So we realized one fine day I had given him 50 rupees and some chocolates, some costed 10 rupees. So he came back just like that without taking change. I said, where is the rest of the money? He said, oh, I had to get the money. I said, go and get the money. So he realized, okay, there are some money left that I have to get back. And then he calculated. How he calculated, I still don't know. I still don't know how he's calculating in his mind. But he calculated, and then he got 40 rupees back. And he said, how did this happen? Why 40 rupees? I just, was nudging a bit. And he was like, Mama, 50 rupees I gave, and this and that, all the logic he gave. And since then, he started subtracting. So I came back, and then I told my husband that, this is what happened. He's like, oh my God, what were we doing? And why were we doing that? So gradually, I think even multiplication, a lot of those things, I think he has learned all of those things in the shops. I don't think we have taught him anything. And I don't even know how he does that. So we should not even try to teach him anything. Even language, reading. Somehow I was little passionate about my reading. So a lot of people have this fear that how my child will learn to read. So I put him in the phonics class with my friend. And one session he went and he said, I don't like it. Second session, I said, okay, I'll sit outside, okay, for you, just to give a support. And second session again, I don't like it. I don't want to go. I said, okay, then I kept questioning. I don't know. But then one fine day, we just went with the flow. And one fine day, one of my friends, she introduced alpha blocks. And that was the time, I think 3.5, 4 years, he was introduced to screen. So he started watching alpha blocks. And today he reads. And we haven't, we do sit with him and do things, but yeah, so.
Great. Thanks for this reassurance. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Mohit. Please go ahead.
Just 1 second. I'm trying to switch on the video. Also, I'm on the phone. Just a second. Yeah, you can see me now. Hi. Hi. Thank you so much. We just a quick background on where we are in our journey, basically. So our daughter is 12 years old. She has been to unconventional schooling all these years. Only recently, we put her in a conventional school. So since January, she has been going there. She hasn't taken this very well. I think my sense is largely the part is that because she feels the academic overwhelming for her, and she feels smaller in her class because everybody kind of gets it very easily. She doesn't. So for now, we have she had a breakdown. She had some situation, and we kind of put her out of school for now. And we started doing homeschooling because June was holidays. We thought let's do this for now. And then we have put her in some online school just for getting the structure right, or at least we were struggling to get her to do things. So we're saying let's do a stopgap solution. Let's do this. It's not high commit. Let's try this out and see where it goes. That's just a background. There's more to it though. But three thoughts, and I was just hearing a story. So one thing is that I think all of us feel comfort in a schooling structure because there is this at least perceived comfort that there is a set path from, you do these things, go through these classes, you cover this syllabus, and you get somewhere. Whether you get there or what is that place to get where, I don't know. But, even whether you get there or not, you don't know. But, but it gives you comfort all these years that, hey, we're getting there. Hey, my kid got good marks. It gives a comfort. The challenge with open learning or homeschooling is that there's this discomfort all the time that, hey, are we doing enough? Is the kid learning really? And plus, because we have the most visibility to the kid, are there blind spots that we completely overlooking areas that we should have done? because in the school, at least there is a responsibility on the school side or the teacher side, and they're taking care of. So we all feel, at least I'm just speaking from my experience though, that we feel uncomfortable that, hey, is this all good enough, or are we going to discover something, 10 years down the line and say, hey, we completely screwed up in the past. So that's just one thought. I don't really have a question around this maybe, but happy to hear what you have. But other thing that I was thinking also was that I think while I have my own personal experience has been around a lot around that, we didn't learn many things in school, and we learned during when we really needed it. So when there is curiosity, we learn really well. I'm just wondering, I'm just thinking aloud that what if the curiosity, so on the school, what happens when the kid are going to school is that there is a structured discipline and say, hey, you have to do this. You have to prepare for exams. So you keep reading this, keep studying this, keep learning this. And hence you're doing it. So you're forced to sort of learn. And in a more homeschooler kind of environment, I think it's curiosity which has to drive. And if the kid is curious enough about some part, okay, I may be wrong. So just one last.
Your second point is based on your first point. So that this is coming because you believe there is a discomfort. I would put it the other way around, because even if you reach to the second point, there is a little change for me in the first point itself. So you say that you find a lot of comfort in the conventional way. Somehow that's not what I felt ever. I think it's just everybody is going wrong, so I am okay going wrong also. Okay, jo bhi hoga sabke saath hoga na. It's that mindset that is saving us. It's no way comforting. I don't think every single day 7 o'clock waking up in the morning and thinking I don't want to go to school is a comfort. And also when I don't want to study Hindi, most of the time I was weak in maths, and I was always put in that maths tuition. I don't think that is comforting. So I think on a regular basis, day-to-day life, if you see, not being able to make my own choices could be the most uncomfortable thing for me.
One small thing on that is, I agree, and to many people also, just sabke saath hoga, dekha jayega, and same thing hoga does give us comfort to different degrees to different people, let's say, and to some people it will not give any comfort, let's say, which is rightly so also.
No, I mean, I agree that we may have different point of views, but I just want you to just pause and think about a 2-year-old or 1-year-old child. When you are thinking that you need to have a curiosity, I think we are believing that we are not born with curiosity. Curiosity is something outside, and that's why we can't drive our lives. Right. But I feel when you see, and this is not something I have said, I have discovered this only after hearing from Aditi and Ratnesh for 1 million times, that you just see a 6-year-old, 1-year-old, 2-year-old. And when I started seeing, they are magically self-driven. So they are born with this curiosity, and they are born with self-ledness, I guess. If you try to convince your 1-year-old child, you can't, you just can't. Correct. The child will only cry and make you believe that, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to this uncle. I don't want to sit here. You please leave this place. Okay. So we all are, basically we are self-directed only. But then we start because of millions of other reasons. I'm not blaming any reasons. And it's a choice. It's a fair choice. Whether we go with the conventional way or we go with the unconventional way. Discomfort may remain everywhere. We don't know.
Right.
But the point is, if I have chosen something, then it's my choice. So it has a different thing altogether. And when we haven't chosen something and we are forced, or let's say we are just put into that because of many reasons, that those reasons may be justified, but that has a different kind of discomfort maybe. So
no, I agree with you. I don't disagree with you. So I think one thing from my experience is that, and I feel this, that's why I'm sharing this, that I think whether it's a conventional school or an unconventional school also, which is what my daughter has been to most of these years, I think what gives comfort is that, hey, this is my first kid. I am going to figure things out, but here is a structure who at least claims that they have figured something out. So if some structure is taking care of my kid, I feel just comfort with that itself. It feels like they would have figured it out. So that's a comfort we felt with the unconventional school also that she was going to. And I think when we start doing it ourselves, it's like you have to figure it out from scratch. We are doing it for the first time. This kid is unique. And now how do we do it? I don't know. I mean, it feels, that's where I think lack of structure will
So
be.
very simple, Mohit, logic. I one line only. The more you will do it, the more clarity and faith you will have in the journey. If you will not do it, and you might just keep hearing also people. I don't think that is, at least for me, that's not really effective. Once you start doing it, no, I know most of the people, the faith starts. As I said, I also had a fear when I started, how my child will learn counting, how he'll learn this, how he'll learn that. Now, within a year or two, all of our fears were dealt, and we are like, okay, matlab, now no matter what we do, वो कर लेगा. मतलब ठीक है. वो कहाँ से आता है faith? I don't know, but I think it only came when we started practicing. So then it becomes very comfortable for you to believe that हो जाएगा. But so that comfort will come, but you have to give some time to process that comfort also.
Fair
That's
point.
what I believe.
On the curiosity point, my last point is, I don't want to take too much time, but on the curiosity point, my only thing is that I completely see that, as the younger the kids are, the more curious they are. And I think as we adults, we all kind of start losing sometimes our curiosity. But for example, in your case, the example you were giving of when you had to invest in stocks, you sort of wanted it, and there was also curiosity to say, "Kaise hota hai sab kuch?" And you kind of went out and spoke to people and figured it out, and manage your own finances, right? So, but अगर वो अंदर से नहीं आएगा, अगर वो curiosity नहीं होगी कि यार कैसे करते हैं, क्या करते हैं, तो learning doesn't happen, right? So the absorption happens only because there's a desire to learn and there is curiosity. Sometimes I feel that if there's not enough curiosity, or can we do something as parents to bring more curiosity among the kids? That's the only thing I had in mind.
Experience, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I feel it's a belief that you have that children are not curious enough, which is fair. It might be based on your experiences, but I feel the other way around. I feel children are much more curious. They have some crazy questions. Yeah.
Completely fit they are. I mean, I don't say that they're not at all.
You don't have to do much about it. You don't have to instill the curiosity. They'll figure out. And they'll have their questions.
If you allow me to add a little bit, if you want children's curiosity, or rather a better word you used was desire, then just allow them to lead themselves. When they lead themselves, their own desires get that space to manifest through their purposes, through their goals, through their actions, through their interests. I think, and that's what, for example, Vishruti shared how Vedant had this whole desire to make things, do things. And then if you are listening to a child's interest and giving him that space, so maybe we should talk a little more about how you would give him that time. He's not eating food, he's not going to sleep. Just tell everybody. I think that's more better listened from you than me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so what Ratnesh is saying is very true. We have our own share of lot of conflicts and things like that. Even with Legos, like his journey was beautifully growing up. Like we brought the more challenging one. Even when he was 5-year-old, we got some 2,000, 3,000 pieces Legos, and he could we could see he could do it very flawlessly. Those wiring must have happened in his brain for the building part. But then at one point of time, we started buying more Legos and getting more resources very, very difficult. And those conflicts were very evident. I also remember asking so many people, what can I do if I can buy second-hand Lego? But being in India, I had my own constraints. And I used to keep going back. I used to keep asking him more. And every time he'll come up with some or the other. Okay, Mama, let's not buy it. I'll make it from. And I remember that led him to do Lego Transformers. All of those Transformers, every day he would watch some 3 videos and make 3 Transformers. And those would transform. So it's an elephant, and then he would do something and it will transform in something. That went on for a few months. And all of those things happened only with the pieces that he already had. And then I could see that he's finding his ways out. He's figuring his things out. From Lego Transformers, he again shifted to Lego Technique. So Technique, he would build here and there. Again, no more resources we were getting, from outside. There might be one set or something that we would give him in a year kinds. But he was figuring out. And of course, it is full of lot of limitations and constraints and so many things. So and I think only when we started doing it, we could see it from that perspective, that everything that we are adding into his life, even as a constraint, or we are not able to get, or we are able to get, was adding a lot of value to at least his learning. He was finding different ways out. So even I think those journey continues. This is exactly, I think, what Ratnesh was saying. I don't know. खाना पीना तो अभी भी चलता है. मतलब लड़ते रहते हैं हम बहुत ज़्यादा. He would talk so much while eating, and I will every day with that. What can we do to come back to food? Okay, let's come back. Okay, I heard you. Let's come back here. So I think that's something that is part of our life. We're comfortable with it now.
Vishruti, one question from Tiana. She's asking, is it compulsory to involve both the parents in homeschooling journey, or mother-child can also?
Yeah. Any combination will work. I don't think, because as I said, for me, open learning is just being open to every kind of structure, every kind of combination, every kind of person. So yes, it's definitely fair. It might hamper a bit if your husband is not on the same page, in the sense is in the conflicting zone. But I tell you, see, when I just, because I've gone through this, I can share with all the mothers this. So when my husband said that, okay, no, I have my fears and I want to take my own time, so we'll continue with the schooling, okay? I said, okay. So that was the time, I think, COVID had started or had to start, something like that. So 8 o'clock in the morning, he has to wake the child up. And then he has to do something. And then he has to do something else. My concern was very simple. I said, I can't do this because I myself is a very self-driven person. If somebody asks me to pressurize me to do something because I have to do it for no given reason, I can't do it. So I said, I can't really help you to get this done from Vedat. Like, I can't do this with my son. So I said, but whoever feels right, you guys can go ahead with your own ways and deal with this. You can do whatever you feel right. But I realized within a month only, he started seeing, oh my God, what is happening? 8 o'clock, he's yawning, and then the sir is saying, take the hand up and take the. So within a week, he said, what are these guys doing? I said, I don't know. So he said, no, this is not just working out. So I think for him to see the side of the conventional system, because till then I was involved in all the processes of schooling. The moment he got involved in this process, he saw what it is doing to his son. And I believe it's only when he saw that my son is not aligned, that conflict inside him as a father started changing something, at least his own perspective, his own fears, maybe whatever. And then he said that, okay, I also don't feel okay doing this. So he came on the same page, I guess, with his own kind of understanding and journey. So yeah, if he's on the same page, it's easier for 3 of you to sail through this journey. If he's not on the same page and it's little conflicting, then maybe you giving some time might help. Till then, you can figure your ways out. With open learning is any which ways. Once your child is back from school, I think Aditi says that he's doing open learning. Once he's back from school, he's doing open learning. So half of the day he's doing open learning, half of the day maybe he's in the school. So yeah. I think it's 6. Do you want to close this, Ratnesh?
Well, that depends on if people have more questions. We can take
Sir, I have a question, please.
Yeah, Seema, if you can switch on your video, it will help us to connect with you.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Ma'am, the answer that you gave to the previous question is very much that I can relate with. That 8 a.m. you have to get him up and do something and something. So we have been doing this something for some time, but then we stopped it gradually. He is my son, 4 years old. He's sleeping now. So, what kind of activities can we engage him? Like some activities we are already engaging him, like cutting and chopping vegetables, which he can do, peeling vegetables, arranging some utensils in the kitchen, then going to shopping with his father and with Dadu, and doing a lot of other stuff, small stuff. But structured activities or what kind of planned activities we can engage him
That I think
at his
that
age.
absolutely depends on your needs. If you have a need that you want to introduce something, then you do it. Otherwise, I personally don't feel that they require anything like that. Mostly they'll drive themselves. If it's better for me, the easiest way is I ask him, what do you want to do? And the moment I ask him, there'll be a lot of things started. It'll start coming from him. If it is not coming from him, then I can maybe ask him, okay, I'm writing or drawing, you tell me what all you like doing. And as you're saying that if he's participating in everything, every process of your journey in the house, in the household work, even outside the work, there is so much already he's doing. Like for us, everything that we are doing, if my husband is traveling, then traveling is planned, or figuring out how to book a ticket, or a lot of things, just keeping him on the same page with our own journey, with everything that we are doing is an activity only, in a way, if you see. So if I'm doing any course, I'll share with him. Then maybe my assignments or something that we will do together. If my husband is going to office, a lot of time he also visits office. He has figured his own role out in the office also. These are the tasks that I'll do. And every time he challenges himself and he says, okay, Daddy, this time I'm going to do this many papers in 1 minute. Something like that, some crazy stuff. I never thought that I can participate in the office work ever. Somehow he has find his way out. So his place also in the office. A lot of things, yeah. So structured activities, if you want to do, you can do. But according to me, not needed. Needed nahi, karna hai to kar sakte hain. I don't know.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
I think in some ways, Tiana, your question of first stage to start open learning journey got covered in whatever Vishruti just shared. That is the first stage and the last stage of open learning.
Yeah.
I think Yani had a question.
Lot of parents, I feel you guys can also join this Aarohi X, no, for at least the beginning understanding. If some of you are already on the same page, let's say if you want to do, you are already doing unschooling and you are unable to find your own structure, I think Aarohi X is a beautiful way to connect from home. At least you'll understand lot of different perspectives. I don't know about how it can help you. Those answers I don't have, but at least it will give you some different ways of doing one thing. Like there are 1 million ways. For planning, I must say we have struggled a lot. There was a point when my son said, if you use a word planning in front of me, I'll not do it. And I'm like, okay, let me find a new word, scheduling. Okay, can you do, oh God. So, but I realized I used to look at it in a very limited way. I mean, there are 1 million ways you can do, task based and time based and just priority based and whatever based. So the moment you start opening up more perspectives, and I think community helps a lot.
Hi, Vishruti.
Yeah, Yani, tell me.
Yeah, how are you? Okay. So my question would be about, of course, we all grow and believe that we have become an individual at some point of life. That okay, this is what I am. Okay. And then my question is, when did you know that you have to unlearn and you are not the individual you think you are? How was your journey of unlearning for yourself?
Sorry, you have to unlearn and you. Last point I missed.
How was your journey of unlearning from the person you are or you were?
How has been my journey? I think it is still continuing and it will continue till the last breath of my life. I don't think I can completely unlearn ever. So, yeah.
Yes. But when did you start, or when did you realize, or how did you start that unlearning journey?
For me, Jagriti has been the most transformative. I must have done Jagriti 4 or 5 times minimum, maybe 6th time. I don't remember how many times I must have done Jagriti. To that level that I remember each and every Ratnesh story now. If he starts one story, I can tell you the end of the story, which he has changed now in a lot of ways. Also, I keep bringing new stories to challenge my memory. But
so you are enjoying the joy of unlearning every time.
Yes, every time. I think Jagriti for me, and I took, I think definitely 3-4 years to understand. And I remember telling Ratnesh also about this, that I thought the most transformative way of unlearn was only Jagriti. And then I realized no, people can have 1 million other ways of unlearn also, and they are figuring their ways out. But for me, it has always been Jagriti. I think it will forever be Jagriti.
Okay, one more question. How do you handle this part of socializing for the child, or how does he feel the need, he or she?
To be very honest, I'm still struggling with my beliefs of socializing. And it's something that we are still dealing with. But one thing that I've learned in my till now journey is my son looks at situations and things very differently than how I look at. So I tell you a very simple example. First, last, I think 2 months, 3 months back, I had 2 months, 2.5 months bed rest. So generally, I used to take out my son and travel with him a lot. Why can't you? So I was in a rest, and initial 15 days, I was constantly in a guilt that I'm not able to take him out. Even if he'll go out with somebody, he'll go out with a lot of people. But I used to explore with him a lot, buying this, buying that, everywhere involving. And I started having this guilt. Within almost a month's time, my guilt was so loud that I used to shout or be frustrated most of the time. And all he was doing was constantly being around me. Okay, Mama, can I give you comfort? Even if he's asked to go out with somebody, he would say, no, I'll stay with Mama. I want to stay with Mama. And I used to feel, why are you staying with me? You go out. This is an opportunity to go out. It took me 1 month to realize that for him, going out was not priority at that time. For him, staying with Mama, comforting Mama was the priority. And I feel so foolish if I would have pushed him more and I was also thinking to make some kind of schedules so that, he goes to this class so that he goes out for sure. So this socializing thing, I feel is something very dynamic. And I'm still in my process of understanding what do I call socializing, why people are important to me, what kind of people I want to get involved with. And I see a lot of clarity in him, clarity in the sense he is okay if somebody is not playing. He's okay if there are 10 people playing. He's okay if somebody is coming home and playing with him. He's okay if somebody is not coming home and playing with him. He's finding his ways out always. And one day when I questioned him that, how do you feel when mama is not able to take you out? And, I feel a lot of guilty. He said, why are you? I am enjoying this time with you at home. So yeah, as I say, the unlearning is still happening. And sometimes we feel that we are struggling because of a lot of structured environment in the surrounding. Children are going to school and then classes. Most of the kids are not free at all for playing and all. But then he manages, he calls every day 3 people. Okay, you're coming home to play. Okay, should I come? Okay, this, okay, that. If that is not happening, he'll go to somebody's place. If that is not happening, he's finding his way out from the home, I don't think he is seeing this as a constraint. It is all inside him.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, or we should close this? How did you find another group in your city? I think the way Aarohi opened this open learning meetups, so we also did one unschooling meetup. A lot of families came in there, and that's from there at least 2 families kind of showed interest in doing homeschooling in their own way. And today, just today, in the sense, just a month back, we have been able to come together as a 4 family. Out of 3 are practicing homeschooling, unschooling. 1 family is still doing things. And even from Vadodara, there are a lot of people who are doing homeschooling and unschooling. I think 3-4 groups are there. You can get in touch. There is a group of Gujarat Aarohi open learning community also. Whoever is from Vadodara, you can be added in that group, and you will find more people from Vadodara in that group. So,
Yeah,
yes.
are there more questions? Yeah, please. The city questions you can ping us and on the Aarohi WhatsApp number. I've put that in the chat, and we'll help you connect locally to whatever extent we can help. And I'm sure if you look around, I just want to add that somewhere we think that both in terms of socializing of the child and both socializing of us as families, we think that only a certain breed, like other homeschoolers and schoolers, should be connected to. But please realize every single human being out there is a beautiful person to connect with. And the moment we start thinking like that, then the shopkeeper down the line, down the road, then the neighbor, aunt staying, some 80 years old aunt staying in the neighborhood, or a family who is playing in the park. Anybody can be a beautiful resource, a beautiful company to be with, some for short durations and some for intense co-creation or collaboration. So it's really up to us how much you are wanting to be out there and connect and do things with people. And I think that is the beauty of open learning. Depending on where your child want to spend time, is it with people, is it with places, is it with traveling, is it with digital devices, is it with what, Lego, is it with whatever, cooking, whatever you want to spend time with, you can spend time with that. I guess that's what life is. Life isn't about just continuously trying to put the equations right. It's about doing what we want to do, and I think that's one reason we like doing this, and that's one thing that Vishruti is sharing, that let's just enjoy the journey of doing things, just like how she jumped into radio because she enjoyed radio. It had nothing to do with her past life. No, I'm not sure if she was radio jockey in her past life. So she enjoyed that, and then she moved on, and she's enjoying other things now, and so on. So that's the beauty part. But we can, so if we are about at 6:15, so you still have questions for Vishruti, you can please feel free to ask. We are still around for another 14-15 minutes. If you have specific questions about your child or about open learning or about Aarohi, you can also ask those. So the floor is still open. And Vishruti, you're there for another 15 minutes. Is that okay? Okay, she's there. Okay. So.
But now I think if you have specific question for me, you can ask me. Otherwise, I think open learning question, everybody, like a lot of senior open learners are there. Like
in open learning, there is no seniority. Everybody is as much. See, when you yourself said, 1 and 2 years old are the most senior open learners. Nobody can beat a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old in open learning. They're so super persistent. So we are all juniors.
So I had one question. Hi, I'm Seema here. Hi. Okay, so in your journey, I mean, anybody can answer this, but I guess, have you had moments where, okay, Lego, we feel like as much as our child explores, maybe there isn't that much harm as such, versus like he wants to explore gaming or something like that. And after beyond like a certain point, so I end up saying my son things like, okay, I'm not saying that you can't do gaming or something, you can do, but I also want you to try other things. Like this can't be the only thing you do all day. Like how do you, like if there are times when your child just wants to try one thing, and I especially start feeling worried that, like, this is more like, rather than learning, like this is more like escaping into a virtual world or something like that, and then he's ruining his eyes and mental health and all of that. And then we also read up about like gaming addiction and this and that. And so, like, have you come across situations like that? And then how do we go about it?
Anybody else wants to answer? Preeti, you want to share? A lot of people there.
Today is your day, Vishruti.
I don't really have a lot of say about this, but yes, I do ask my son if the thing is controlling you or you are controlling the thing. That is one thing that I keep asking him, particularly about his TV time.
Thank God you haven't asked me this.
I so that is when I don't really have much to say here. That's the point where me and my son may get into conflict a lot of times. But yeah, I keep asking him about his TV time. Gaming, no introduction has been done yet from my side. So
how old is your son again? Sorry,
7.5. Yeah. And I don't know, I keep telling him, I keep giving everything that I tell him, he doesn't believe me, okay? So I give him research only. This is what the research is saying. Now you decide what you want to do. So now he goes out and tell his friends, when his friends are into those 3D games and all, he say, oh, this is just your neuron connections, our adrenaline is going up. And every other child is not liking his conversation. They're like, you shut up, you want to play. And I enjoy that. I only give him research. I don't tell him.
Okay, so that's very interesting. So I guess this might backfire in the future. So my son, right, I used like for like sugar intake and for screen time and all that. So I used some research. And I also like, see, research says this is what happens. And, I'm sometimes feeling worried that this will happen to you and all that. So I am like, what do you think we should do and all that? So then he went to the internet and he Google searched something and he told me a research how gaming is good for him. And I'm like, now I know what is.
No, so I don't think, see, when I share the research, the point for me is not that he should obey what I'm saying or he should follow. He wants to find a different perspective, no problem. You do it and experience it for yourself. I don't think we are the right judge for, there. And a lot of time I see they are smart enough to see if there is a need more, or they're not feeling enough, or they have some feeling different, once they're watching it, they are in a different world, whatever are their experience of doing those things. But they're smart enough. So yeah, reflection may help you in this process. Just ask him, how do you feel when you watch it, when you do it? Do you feel like doing something else? Are you enjoying something else? If, let's say, that is something that is really helping him grow more, then those things will show up in his reflections also. But if it is not something that is helping him, I think they're mature enough or they're understanding enough to see the change in them, I guess. Yeah.
I want to add one more perspective here, is that when Vishruti is talking about reflections, discussions about anything, in this context, you're talking about gaming. I don't know why gaming is looked down upon. It's very, very unfortunate. We seem to hold on. Every generation has their pet beliefs to hammer the children with. Anyways, that I'm not getting into that discussion right now. What I want to make a point is, if we are sitting with a discussion with our children, thinking that my discussion will change his point of view to my point of view, we have already lost it. That is not a conversation, dear. That's a waste of time. Right? In fact, it's only going to make the other person think even more strongly of how I can do this, how I can avoid mom or dad or whatever, whoever that person is. So a lot of times we come with a very fixed notion of that this is wrong, bad, not okay, not, and not only we come with that perspective, we want the other person, especially our children, to immediately ASAP, convert themselves to our perspectives. And that is what really destroys the conversation. If we can start realizing that the child is exploring his life or her life from her perspective, and that is what is valuable, and that is why the child is leader of himself or herself. And I can share my views, I can share these researches that Vishruti was talking about. I can share anything, just like he can share or she can share anything. But as much as my view has a weight, if I want to call it 100% weight, and so does his point of view has a weight, which is 100% weight, which means we are equal. My thought does not carry a higher weightage just because I happen to be whatever, 40, 30, 40, 50 years old. And once we do a conversation with that, then those reflections, then those discussion over an extended period of time of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years are extremely meaningful, beneficial, deep, not just for the relationship between the two, but for the child to have a better worldview of himself. I'm saying worldview of himself as in how he exists in this whole systems or the worlds or whatever the things that are around him. So that, I think, that's the core to it. We lose out on that because we just think that this is wrong and you better stop it. So the conversation only starts with stop it, as in inside our mind, and that's where we lose it. So just when Vishruti, you're talking about reflections and discussions, I want this to be carried forward, that Vishruti is not having those discussions and reflections from the point of view that he should immediately listen to me and change everything, because then that will not work. And that is not a conversation at all, right? That's a sales pitch. Yeah. Okay, somebody
Yeah,
wants, somebody is wanting to connect with you to get more understanding. If you are comfortable, you can share your number, Vishruti. If you're not comfortable, that's also okay. We always have these problems, so that's absolutely, yeah.
Hello, can I ask? This is Vaishali from Mumbai.
Sure.
Yeah, like Ratnesh, like long time ago when you start the trainer, that time I have attended few sessions.
Pre-Jagriti, Ratnesh.
Yeah, at that time I have attended few sessions, but after that I was not in touch, and like my son is 10-year-old and I was like looking for where to shift because he's not really liking the convention school. He's not at all writing the not like to write the writing, like doesn't like to writing. He's not, and we need to force him because the schools are like they have to correct the books. The books also has the marks and everything. Then they need to write the paper. So a lot of mess is going on right now. So wanted to ask like how to get out of this situation because I am full time working right now. Also I'm in office. Really I was thinking to put him in Aarohi in Bangalore. And I told my husband also that we will shift him to once he is 11, 12 years old, we'll shift him to Aarohi.
Yeah, I think the starting point is always conversation with him within your family. It's not about finding a solution. Maybe there is no problem also. It's more about first accepting each one as they are, as an individual. That, okay, my child is like this and he likes this and he does not like this and I am like this and so on. I think that's where the real work has to happen. Which mode you use, which place you stay, whether you go to school, don't go to school, homeschool, unschool, open learning, all of these are just part of life. Those are just mediums. But finally, the thing is more about understanding, accepting, connecting, and seeing where are our energies and how do we develop that. I think it can happen that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So as many conversations you can have, discussions about each one and how they look at things and how then you can create it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we are almost at 6:30. Pranav, you want to close the session? Some vote of thanks.
No, nothing as such. I think Vishruti can do by herself. She's an RJ. So,
Pranav, you can send me some sweets in vote of thanks. Huh? I'll receive it gracefully.
Surely I send those. What the Vedat likes those, no? Chalo, achha, I'll send those.
Nice. Yeah.
So when Pranav is not doing it, then let me say a few lines. Vishruti, I thoroughly enjoyed today's session. Actually, it was so beautiful. It was like absolutely spot on and everything. Like I really enjoyed today's session. Thank you for coming.
So all I can say is धन्यवाद भाई और बहनों, आप हमारे साथ बने रहे और विष्णुजी जी को सुनने के लिए और विष्णु जी के आने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. तो हम कोशिश करेंगे हम और ऐसे गेस्ट लाते रहे, आपको ओपन लर्निंग के बारे में शेयर करते रहे और बहुत कुछ करते रहे. That's it.
और जाते जाते एक गाना भी प्ले करते जाए आप.
नहीं बस हो गया भाई. धन्यवाद.
Wonderful. Wow. Thank you so much, Pranav, Preeti, Ratnesh, Dviji, and everybody else for joining. It was so amazing because every time that somebody asks question, we also kind of think in that direction. Kabhi us direction mein socha nahi hota hai. So we also kind of reflect a lot. So thank you so much, everybody.
Yep.
That is why since 3 years I have been joining this session every Saturday. क्योंकि हर बार मुझे भी कोई आंसर मिलता है.
So thanks Preeti for Pranav and Preeti. Thanks for motivating again to मेरे को थोड़ा regular होने के लिए. Done, yes.
Yep. Thank you, everybody. And just as once again, a reminder, we are there every Saturday. Sometimes we have guests like Vishruti who agree to spend their time with us. Sometimes it's just the old bunch there to interact with you. So keep joining in. And yeah, thank you. The recordings are always there on the YouTube and links. You can always connect us with us on the WhatsApp if you need any support. Yep. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yes.
If you need anyone's number, you can always ask Ratnesh, Preeti, anybody. As a community, I think we all always have been accessible and been willing to be there for any family who wants to explore open learning. I think we are more than happy, always. And I think that's something I've learned from Aarohi community only. Like all the Aarohi community's parents and families, the doors are always open. And I've never seen this kind of warmth in any other community. So thank you so much, Ratnesh and Aditi, for creating this.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Have a nice weekend. Thank you. Thanks once again, Vishruti. Bye-bye.